Shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, Jeff, I guess we're recording.
Still my heart.
It does, right? It does. It makes you feel like it's fond memories.
Still my lonely heart. I love
First
this.
on your show, now on mine. It's
Yes.
just it's like
Yes.
it's like Kismet lovers meeting in the night.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's kismet.
Your wife's a nurse. My wife's a nurse.
Mhm.
So, welcome to the show.
Well, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's been a long journey.
Well, I've loved watching literally frame by frame what you've done with this space is just fantastic.
The building of the podcast space took on a life of its own.
I never knew you were that handy. I never knew you gave a shit that much about podcasting. I knew that you loved it, but not like to the point where you're like, I'm going to build my own. It's almost like you watch Righteous Gemstones.
I do. Surprisingly good show, by
right?
the way. Yeah.
Dan McBride is a national treasure.
How he
Walton Goggins, national treasure.
How he doesn't get more love for the first of all, he moved to North Carolina, so shout out to him for being kind of anti the Hollywood establishment. But that show is written really well. Look at you coughing already. I'm making you nervous. You want to talk about it?
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
I didn't know that I cared about podcasting that much either until. What I've told people is that this space came up and I bought it effectively sight unseen. I mean, Saied and I walked it, but he thought I was out of my mind. I mean, it had drop ceilings. It didn't look anywhere like this. And I was like, I'm going to turn this into an acoustic space and I'm going to take the show to the next level. I knew it was a meaningful financial investment. I did not expect that I would become as OCD as I did about the space.
Oh, you did. Well, this is like Kelvin's treehouse.
Yeah.
And this is your treehouse.
Yeah.
This is Chris's treehouse.
And look, the acoustics in here. So Rajil, who's back there with Saied today, and Saeed's going to chime in from time to time, so don't be scared. He scared the shit out of the last guest.
You really?
Yeah, oh yeah. We had him on, and he didn't realize that Saied had a microphone.
I thought it was like Christ.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh my God!"
I am your conscience.
Yeah.
Oh my!
It freaked him out, but
Perfect.
So when we built the space and Rajil was helping, we built like bass traps in this room, and we built obviously the acoustic panels like you saw in the stories. But we're not sound engineers. We had no idea it was going to sound good or bad.
Wonderful.
It does sound pretty good, right?
It's like that. Microsoft has that room that's like so quiet you can hear like your own heartbeat. And it's like if you stay in it for an hour, it'll give like $1 million or something like that. Look it up. It's
so
there.
Rajil and I were here. What was that Saturday, Sunday? It was last week. I don't remember what day it was. We're putting up these foam pads. We turned all the lights off. And we just sat here with the window closed, lights off, and just listened. And that's the way it felt. Like you could hear like that throbbing in your ears, and it was like eerie.
I've never known somebody so OCD about like glue.
I didn't want you to get high from the glue, man.
It's hilarious, dude. It's
So when we
fucking hilarious. It's just like, give it a rest already.
I literally
Stop it.
came yesterday to make
Just
sure you
stop.
were going to get high from
Oh
the glue.
my God, please.
You're unfiltered as it is. I can't have you high and
I'm
unfiltered.
55 years old. There's nothing I haven't put in my body except, let's see, I've never done Molly, never done heroin. Beyond that, tried all substances, and so I'm fine.
I've never tried any of that. Although I will admit that Molly made me curious. That sounds like I don't know enough about drugs to really tell you, but that sounds like a fun drug.
From what I've been told, it's wonderful. Like you get all touchy-feely, and you drink a lot of water. That's all.
Yeah, but where's the problem in that?
It's also, and I guess like sex is supposed to be amazing.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I'm abstinent, but apparently, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I hear rumors. Yeah.
Well, we now have the Pope went to Villanova, so there's hope.
Did he really?
Oh yeah,
I didn't know.
Went to
Leo?
Villanova.
Did not know
Because
that.
I have a friend that went to Villanova, Susan Hyde, shout out, and
Yeah.
she went ahead and posted that.
I was stunned they
Yeah.
picked an American for that. I really was.
How about that?
I did not think that was. I was in my office. It was like a Super Bowl. Like
Let's
I haven't
go.
watched- Saeed's so upset now because I haven't watched sports in forever. but I was in my office the day the white smoke came up in the Vatican.
Yeah.
Like going, oh my God, who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? I thought for sure it was gonna be the Filipino dude. And I was gonna call my wife, make fun of her. I had this whole story in my
Pick
head.
the gringo, man.
Yeah,
Pick the gringo.
I did not see
Let's
that coming.
go.
Yeah, and then he came out looking all papal and everything.
Oh, and he's
Papal.
like OG. He's doing like OG stuff now. It's like
There you
back
go.
to John Paul II.
Well,
Let's
before we
roll.
get too far off on what was sure to be one of many tangents, let's talk a little bit about what you do, because you and I are probably going to dive hard into social media.
Sure.
So let's talk about your podcast. Let's talk about how you got there.
Let's see. I have two podcasts. The main one's Fargo Talks. Started,
Which is the one I was on.
and that was when you were on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And no, thank you.
Yeah.
And here we go. Jesus Christ, self-admiration society. It's something that started originally. I was a title rep in Las Vegas and wanted to be in front of my clients more, and thought, oh, let me start a podcast. And ended up leaving that job. They got rid of me, and rightfully so. Best job I was ever fired from. And I was like, wait, I like talking to people. and I'm getting millions of people a month are tuning in and commenting, and I'm not getting offended when, they're saying very hurtful things about me or about the guest. I don't give them permission to offend me.
Yeah.
And
why would you?
When I reach that point of clarity, but some people do. Like,
Yeah,
it's
so
crazy.
you're bringing it up
There
on
he is,
screen. There
handsome
you go.
son of a bitch. Look at that AI Jeff
It's a
with
fantastic picture of
with
you.
one chin. It's good.
Yeah. It's the best one chin I've seen in a long time.
I've got more chins in a Chinese phone book now,
Yeah.
but yeah. So it kind of took a life of its own that my kids have always said, Dad, you always are chit-chatting. I could be at the supermarket or at wherever out in public. I'm always talking to people, and I enjoy that. And everyone has a story to tell. And so what I've done is really just people now are finding me, knock wood, and are saying, hey, I have a story to tell. I'd love to tell it to you. And hence Fargo Talks, and people come in and we have these wonderful, vulnerable conversations where when you're in the pocket, you don't know you're wearing headphones or lights or cameras or a microphone. And it's like just two guys sitting at the bar having an old fashioned and shooting the shit.
We actually used to do that on the show too, is we would drink during the show. And we found that we had a lot of fun doing it, but the wives didn't like it when we got home. We were hammered. But so when you got into the show, did you think, you obviously started a podcast. You didn't think it was going to take over your life though, right?
No.
Yeah, I was the same way. When we started this, I was in my garage, having a good time, learning something new, learning a skill, thinking I was going to have fun. I never in a million years thought that I'd be sitting in a studio with you that I own doing this for a living.
And same. To fly down here, to come to, to see my friend, to congratulate him on this amazing facility that you've built from scratch. You're like Michael Landon in Little House on the Prairie. You're just,
There's
look
an
what you've
entire
done.
demographic of listeners who have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Google it. Just Google it. It's fine. It's fine.
So the part that blows me away about doing this to this day is, first of all, I love the talking to people thing. It's cool to hear, but there's also a stigma of talking to people. Like everybody you bring in your show, for some reason, people think that you're endorsing.
Oh,
right?
yeah, no, I'm not.
And it's this weird thing like, oh, you're giving this person a spotlight. But in reality, just because you're giving an opportunity for someone to tell their story doesn't necessarily mean that you're endorsing it either.
I'm just giving them a platform to be heard.
Right.
That's all I'm doing. And very often I challenge what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I tell them that ahead of time. I have a pre-production call with literally every guest, and I tell them, if you're looking to buy or sell or offer some type of product, skill set, whatever, you're not going to do it on my podcast. It's just not going to happen.
It sucks, right? It gets kind of icky feeling when people do that. Yeah,
this is not an infomercial. I've had people on and I've said, let's have a nice conversation, and then towards the end, let's bring it back to, I had some folks on that they have a nonprofit. And one of them happens to be Frank Fertitta IV. His family owns all the station casinos in town. They own the MMA, UFC stuff. Frank Fertitta can come on and pitch what he wants to pitch. But it was after 45 minutes of talking about, how's the casino business really doing? And how come you guys don't charge for parking? And everybody on the strip does charge for parking. And what about your fees?
Yeah.
What are you seeing right now in terms of long-term projections with station casinos? He was very open and honest with what we talked about. And at the end, well, tell me about Easy Day Foundation that's helping out veterans to give them, clothes to go on interviews with and helping them out. It's a natural segue. Then I'm fine with that. But if you're just going to come on and talk about like it's an 80s infomercial, like your Suzanne Summers with the Thigh Master, another great old reference. Thank you very much.
Solid. I still have one of those in the house. By
Do you
the way.
really?
Oh, yeah. I love that thing.
My love for you just exploded even more.
I've got one of those. I got one of like the hand grip things.
Oh, yeah.
I've got the shake weight. I've got one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's used for other purposes, but fine.
Still a fantastic piece of equipment. If you ask me. It's in my home garage.
But it's more about I tell my guests, just come on and be you. Just be you. And a good podcaster gets somebody vulnerable and comfortable within the first 5 minutes that you go live.
Yeah.
Within 5 minutes, you're just talking. You're shooting.
Have you ever had an interview where someone came on and they just couldn't like loosen up?
Yeah. In the beginning.
Yeah.
When I first started, it was the guest was controlling the conversation more than I was, Chris. Right? And then over time, You learn. One of the best things I did, and I didn't start until later on, was watching my episodes. I wouldn't watch myself. I just have a thing about
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't watch myself.
Are you just a stigma to it or
Yeah.
something? Or you just,
Yeah.
I don't like looking at myself on camera, but I would listen. And I still do. I listen to every episode.
True story. Our first interview together,
There's
Chris
God.
controlled the entire interview and didn't let me get a word in.
What that is not true. That is not. So let me tell you what happened. Okay. We had who was the guest that you were listening? Are you talking to? Somebody.
Chiasano?
Oh, it was Tim Chiasano. You know, see him on Instagram, right? Tim Chiasano. He was in an ad agency for a number of years. I think in his late 40s. He's about my age. He retired and now he's a content creator. He's full-time social media. That's what he does, right? And he's just the most genuine, heartfelt guy. And early in his journey when he was coming up, I was like, hey, you want to be on the show? And Saied and I were like, super excited to have him on because we thought that this is a guy leaving corporate America who was super relatable. And there's something about people who are in corporate America who like break free, which is really appealing to most like people out there. Because I think most people feel trapped in their jobs. And sometimes just hearing somebody who got out or feels differently is really interesting. But Tim was a good paradigm because he loved corporate America and he got out, but he still had like fond memories. So he was like telling people all the good things about leaving and the bad things. But Saied, that was his first show with me interviewing somebody. And we were in my garage. It was like 1,000 degrees. We were both sweating our asses off, right? My wife's Tesla's in the back, like turning lights on randomly. My wife walked by upstairs with the key, like triggering the lights. But Saied said hello on the beginning and said goodbye at the end. And that was his total contribution. And he was sitting next to me the whole time.
And the worst part is, so at that point in time, we weren't actually recording video.
Yeah, just audio.
So,
Oh, no.
But
Yeah.
it was over Zoom, and Tim was looking at me the entire time, not speaking to him.
Oh,
It was literally like
no.
so we were on the same. We had one camera back then too. We have like 4 camera setup now and all that stuff going on. But then it was one camera on 2 of us in a garage. I mean, how sketched out was Tim? You never spoke to me again, by the way. So
Ever.
good job. Yeah, never.
Ever. But I think anybody, when you're first starting out, you don't know what you're doing. You think you know, but you don't know. And if you get a strong alpha personality on the other side of the table from you, you're fucked.
Yeah,
If-
especially one that has like an agenda. When they come on with an agenda. So you were talking earlier today when we were at lunch, or I guess it was an early dinner. But I had a guy on the show once who came across that way. He tried to do it in a sincere method, but I could tell he was lying the whole time. And I spent maybe 5 minutes going, I'm never airing that episode. And I never aired it. And I never even told him why. I just didn't air it.
I had a guy come on, Vegas Pauly C, and he's a big content creator in Vegas, a savant when it comes to gaming and the numbers and quarterly returns and all that. Very smart guy, very passionate guy. And I like him. But after that episode, I said to my podcast engineer, I need a nap. Like I had to,
Wow.
I had to physically like keep bringing him back because he kept going on tangents. And that was the first time I had to work a guest to get them to move forward, to stay on task and to keep them moving forward with the conversation. Because if not, he was just going squirrel, 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 squirrel. Again, brilliant guy. But it was like, oh my God. And so I've learned now, pre-production call, I learned the person's style from that call. I see their content ahead of time. If they're a dominant personality and who they are, there he is.
Oh, is Vegas policy
This
right
is
here?
Vegas Pauly C. And again, when it comes to gaming, he's very polarizing, but one of the smartest guys in the room.
How many followers you got, Saied? Go to the top. Just go to the top. Scroll up to the top. What are you doing? This is called social media. You go to the top to see the follower count.
486, but then you can go to
Okay,
Social Blade and we can see really what that is. But for now, he is somebody that is really good. People either love him or hate him. So as a content creator, it's awesome.
Because polarizing.
As
Yeah.
long as I'm in the ether of the conversation, I'm happy.
Yeah.
As a content creator, good, bad, or indifferent. When there's silence, that's what keeps me up at night.
I get that.
Right?
Yeah.
So from that point forward, I always learn to have conversations ahead of time with people, unless I know them well, to have conversations with them ahead of time. To do
I was going to say, because
pre-production
most
call.
of our conversations were sending memes and jokes to each other.
That's it. That's it. Which is sophomoric bathroom humor from the 90s, which is wonderful.
That's my only kind of humor these days.
That's all it is.
I got to be
well,
honest
when
with
you get to be our age, it's just, you just don't give a shit anymore. You're just like, look at
There's something about being
care.
in your 40s, which I'm sure there's going to be people like laughing at us. When you get to your 40s, you get to this point where you're just like, you know what? I am who I am. I can't remember who it was. There's a quote out there that says like the 40s are when your life really starts because you stop caring what other people think about you and just start focusing on you. I really feel like that was kind of what kicked me off on my journey. But I do want to use that as a jumping off point. So you also recently started the Dad Pod.
Did.
And
Yeah.
your partner on that show is fantastic.
Brandon is
Yeah.
excellent.
Brandon is excellent.
Yeah.
He's very articulate. He's very well spoken, and he has no problem stating his opinion on things.
Brandon from Vegas. He's
Yeah.
excellent, and he's been a content creator for 7 years.
I was surprised when you told me he was a real estate agent.
Yeah.
To start with,
He's a
because
realtor.
he's so the opposite of what most realtors
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
That it's a lot of realtors. I don't want to bastardize the entire like community, but a lot of realtors have like this, like, I'm going to project this image of who I am, and he seems very comfortable in his own skin.
He's the everyman, and he's there, and he's got some like half of a chicken wing sitting in his beard, and the camera's way too close to his face, and he knows it. He knows all of this.
Suffice it to
And-
say, you handle all the technicals at that point.
Oh God! Oh please! and he's just the most lovable man. Like, I love him, and we become such good friends on this journey together. He approached me 6 months ago and said, "Hey, I've been looking to do a podcast with somebody. I would love to do it with you. I've done a bunch of research. There's a kabillion podcasts out there for moms, and there's really none for dads.
None.
To give dads a voice."
I feel like the ones that start off for dads always go like a different route where they're focused on like one hyper localized niche of like, oh, I like X or I like Y, like hunters, right? Like finance, like our show on some level, where some people will just dive super down into a niche and then it gets boring.
Yeah, it's something that what we tell people is we're giving dads their balls back.
So
And-
you should probably listen to that show. Yeah, no? Yeah.
I do listen to the show, and I do want to congratulate him on his first sponsor.
Thank you very much.
Ah,
Thank you
look
very
at-
much. Which is it, Wallflower Dispo. We can't
Yeah.
say we can't say dispensary. I'm learning all this stuff now. Like we
Why
can't
you
say
dispensary?
something with legal and algorithms, and we can't. You can say Dispo
That's
or Grow House.
oh, I like Grow House. That
Yeah.
sounds classy.
We film commercials there. We can't film any of the flour. Cannot be in any of the video at all.
But you can film like the other things.
I'm
there?
holding like one time, like we did, like here's our top 3 things to get at Wallflower Dispo, and number 3 is Flight Bites, which I love. Flight Bites, great gummies. Shout out to
Edible?
Flight Bites.
How many milligrams are in it?
10.
Okay, so
They're
good.
glorious.
Yeah.
And they're glorious. And
My wife started giving me edibles, and I got to tell you, I'm not a drug person, but like I had trouble sleeping. Everybody who listens to the show knows that I don't sleep much. I think I started with 5 milligram gummies. Man, I've never slept so well.
Right.
I didn't feel high at all. I just went to sleep. It was fantastic.
it's wonderful. And when they gave it to me, and I had to cover up with my hands certain verbiage on the actual bag of gummies because it couldn't be aired. So like you saw Flight Bites by Growers Circle,
Right.
And I had to say Flight Bites by Growers Circle. Couldn't say just Flight Bites.
Right.
Growers Circle as well. Shout out to Growers Circle. And so, but you'll see the commercials. I'm holding it a certain way. The people that were there were like, no, you have to hold it this way.
This is such a weird thing about
wild.
society, about how we over stigmatize.
Oh.
First of all, in this state, it's legal. So let's start there. Right. But in other states, I understand there's some nuances. Nevada has some nuances. But what blows me away is that we're taking something that we know at this particular juncture in time is safer than alcohol.
Mhm.
And we're demonizing it because of a legacy ideology. Like, it's just crazy to me.
Not addictive.
Not addictive at all.
No, it's wonderful.
And yet people, I mean, I'm not saying, hey, everybody should go out and do this. All I'm saying is like, if you look at there's a list that came out not too long ago. I saw this on social media, so it must be true.
Absolutely.
Of like the most harmful drugs in the United States. Above heroin, far above heroin is alcohol.
Absolutely.
And you're like, wait a minute, but this is legal and everybody can buy it? Like, this is crazy.
Mhm.
And it was, I think they took all the negative impacts from like health and physical like impacts, but also the sociological ones, like car accidents and things like that. And I'm sitting there, that's kind of over-reporting some, but under-reporting others. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, when you think about it, most people who have issues, oh, here you go, Saied pulling stuff up. So what do we got here? The most harmful drugs, there you go, top 10.
Alcohol.
Alcohol, number 1, fentanyl,
Fentanyl, our old
heroin,
friend. Yeah.
cocaine, methamphetamine, Xanax. Alcohol above all these drugs.
Oxy, ketamine.
Yeah. I
Sweet.
mean, it does
Nice.
sound like everything that's going on in Vegas right now at EDC, but who's judging?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not me. I don't care.
So I also, you like me have learned a lot about this industry, far more than I know at this point in time, and I'm using you as a resource to that effect. But there are a lot of people in our space who I think are disingenuous And I thought it'd be really cool for the listener, at least, to hear your thoughts are on how to judge real and fake and kind of see through the smoke screen in the space.
Sure. Well, where to begin?
There's so much.
So the best way to do it is if you give me think of a name of someone that is let's say Ryan Pineda. Okay. Ryan is a very polarizing individual.
I've been on a show. Yep.
He is the subject right now of a class action lawsuit. I'm not talking out of church. It's
No,
there.
public. Yeah,
it's
there.
all there, right? So if Saied, if you could pull up Ryan's Instagram page, and we'll look at what he has for his audience and how many followers he has, and then the second we'll do a split screen. The second tab that we'll slide over will be Social Blade, which is the end all be all. And for anybody that is doing it, so 446,000 followers is what that's what he says he has. That's wonderful. And then let's go ahead and do Social Blade. And there it is. Everybody and anybody who is in, go up on top where the Instagram
And just
icon
search,
is, and just type in Ryan Pineda.
All of his socials will come up, and just pick the Instagram.
And they'll all come up. And
just hit enter. There you go. Ryan Reynolds is on there.
go do Ryan Pineda, all one word, just like it is for his name. And then PIN. Yeah. And
There you go.
dun. There he is. And go ahead and click on him. Yep, right there. Must be logged in.
Click the login now. I have an account, so you should be able to log in with my username and password.
And again,
Got you, dog.
not picking on Ryan, but I am picking on Ryan because he is selling a bill of goods to people, saying that he has this big audience, but we're going to take a look to see if the audience is real or not. And Social Blade if anybody is getting into the podcast game.
Bro, Regil, your wife's following him.
Oh my.
You want to talk about that?
That's something maybe off camera.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
want to have a conversation about
No,
that?
look,
That's fine.
Ryan's a good enough guy. Yeah,
Look, you gotta stay plugged into everybody, right?
Yeah, that's it. You got to check and see. This is the problem, though. Is like I'm not necessarily demonizing or picking on him, but he's certainly one of many. There you go.
Okay, so he has a 0.26 engagement rate, 0.26%.
Wow.
That's awful. That's awful. Go ahead and click on OK. Let's just let you guys get all of his cookies.
Bottom right there.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yep, get that. And go ahead and scroll down. And we're going to take a look at how many people are following him or unfollowing. He's getting a bunch of followers here, right? A bunch of followers here. Can you go back up to the top? I think you can do like 180 days out. So it says last 30 days.
Yeah.
Go to 180 if you can do that. You got to be
Yeah.
verified. But scroll all the way down.
Just scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page here. There you go.
Yep, keep going down.
All the way down.
So if he's at over 400,000 followers, keep going down.
Last 30 days, well, plus 50.
So he's at 50. So that's all paid. That's paid.
Huh.
Like that's just not possible. This is a great way to find out if somebody is like cheating or not. There's people a lot worse than this, but it looks like what he's been doing is paying for a bunch of followers lately. You need to get verified, by the way. You got to do your verification email, and then it'll show you more. But Social Blade to me is the end all be all that you need to look at. Also, and we were talking about this before we started. I was talking with Saied about it. Depending on how many followers you have, if you're 50 to 60,000 or below, 10% of your audience should be watching and consuming your reels. So if you have a audience of 50,000 people on Instagram, about 5,000 people should be looking at your reels every post.
That's about right. Yeah.
Right? Every single post. So if you go back to Instagram for a second, please, back to Ryan's page. Yep. And click on Reels. So he's at 440. So for that, he should be having an average of 30 to 40,000 every single one.
So he's got some with 20, some
So
with
he's
16.
and these are actually good, but also if you go in, he pays for comments.
So that's what I was going to say. Correct me if I'm wrong. Someone like Ryan would know that these ratios need to be at a certain level, so
Yes.
they could pay for views and bots. Correct?
Yes.
So that's one of the things the algorithm takes into effect now. So I don't know how many people listening to the show know this, but one of the things that's difficult to do is to get bots to give you specific comments. So what the algorithm does is it deprioritizes comments that don't have like meaningful text, or if they have repetitive text, it'll actually hide them. So look right here. So he has view hidden comments. Click on that. These are all the bots that come through, and some of the
Fire
bot likes.
emojis are bots.
Yeah, fire emojis are bots. So if you scroll back up here, they try to filter through this and go through it, but if you go all the way to the top, keep going. There you go. Your scrolling is really weird today, brother.
This one only has 13 comments.
Yeah, but
Well,
that's strange.
Yeah, 13 comments for, and how many views?
Close that and just go back out to the video.
9,000.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's just an overall aggregate, the numbers don't jive.
Which is unfortunate because he makes good content.
He does.
Yeah, it's high quality content. His
Yeah.
page is aesthetically pleasing. It just seems. And here's what I would say about him. When I originally started to follow him and listen to his stuff, I thought there was meaning behind the content, and it's slowly migrated from that into what feels like a constant sales pitch.
And I think a good point here to mention why Jeff is qualified to talk about this. I know we talked about the podcast earlier, but Jeff also runs a digital advisory firm, right?
Yeah.
That I don't know that we didn't speak about. So
Yeah.
you're very qualified to speak on this topic.
A little bit. Go to Sean Mike Kelly
Oh my gosh!
on Instagram. Saied, please.
While he's doing that, I'll tell you, Sean Mike Kelly, his VAs have reached out to me multiple times trying to get me to pay up to $6,000 to appear on his show. This is a reoccurring theme I've heard from people around that have appeared on it.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking about it before, but he's got 11 million followers.
Yeah. So here's Sean Mike Kelly, 11.5 million followers.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to his reels.
Yeah.
You guys got to get a dial up.
You know they don't have good internet here.
So
It's way down.
he should be having between 500,000 to 1 million every single time. Every single time. All of these, click on any of these, on just any of these.
So the backstory here is his account is wildly purchased.
Yeah.
The followers are purchased, the comments are purchased. A lot of the engagement was fake for a long period of time.
A lot of these are fake. Now go to Social Blade and put in Sean Mike Kelly.
So I've done this before too. This is fascinating.
This is going to blow your mind.
If anybody ever wanted to see what the worst case scenario of a fake social media account looked like, you can go to this page and look at a Social Blade and see the spikes in his follower count.
Yeah.
It's incredible because you can see exactly what day he purchased millions of followers.
Correct.
And you can just see how it spikes up.
So here, his engagement rate is 0, by the way.
Wow.
0 engagement rate. 0.
How is that even possible?
Look at his gained followers. Look at how it goes down.
Because those are just bot counts being eliminated.
Correct. So go ahead and scroll down. And this is, so he's lost 97. Look at the red.
Wow. 10,000 followers in a single day.
Yeah.
5,100 followers.
18,000
followers. 12,000 followers the next day. So
So
these are just bot accounts that
scroll
are
all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah.
And you could see he's at, go up a little bit more. Sorry, it's the bottom of that one tab. Up a little bit more, please. Thank you. Last 30 days, he's down 96,000 followers.
Daily average.
Sean Mike
3,000
Kelly.
negative.
Sean Mike Kelly is completely full of shit.
Wow.
Completely full of shit what he's doing. And he's getting major guests on because I hate the term fake it till you make it. I freaking hate that term. But this is what he's doing. And again, the thing is, Sean was on my podcast. I had to take the episode down because Baller Busters. Oops! Oh, I broke the pod.
Breaking new mics. Look at you.
I don't know where that thing goes.
Can't take you anywhere.
Where's that go?
all
Of course, it
magnetic,
goes right there. And Baller Busters were like, he pays for reviews. He pays for. I'm like, oh shit! And they sent me a link of they called him out. I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, he's been on there a couple times.
The worst part, Chris, is take all that aside. The conversation that Sean Kelly and I had. We gave a master class on how to do a podcast,
So
how to grow it, how to do it. But I had to take the whole thing down because he pays for his audience.
So let me. Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, right? Or in this case, really boring guy's advocate. You can say what you want. Clearly, his account is fake. It's purchased. He doesn't. There's no reason why that guy would have 11 million followers. He's not charismatic. He's not hyper articulate. He's kind of vanilla. He's kind of boring. not to say that you and I are the most intriguing people in the world, but I would say from just a contextual perspective, I'd rather have a conversation with you than him any day of the week.
Do Social Blade Jeff Fargo, by the way, to have that queued up, please.
Yeah,
we'll bring that in to show what real growth looks like. Go ahead, continue.
But my point being is, okay, yeah, he faked it, but he also has had some very notable guests on his show, so it did work for him. So on one hand, in today's world, I want to bastardize it, saying, okay, this is cheating. But on the other hand, I'm like, okay, but he also got there because of now his engagement, because I know this because my account had really terrible engagement because I paid for an agency. They gave me total bot growth. I spent a lot of money trying to get rid of it. But, oh, wow, look at your engagement rate, 6%.
Huh, isn't that interesting? Scroll down, please, Saied. Oh, now, look, I don't have hundreds or thousands, but look, every day it's in the green.
That's impressive, dude.
In the green, brother.
That's an annuity.
That's impressive.
That's an annuity right there. That's why, and so what?
But see, this is healthy growth, though.
That's
like
healthy growth.
1,297, almost 1,300 followers.
That's
look
why
at the spikes. So you can tell these are clips that have gone viral.
Yeah. And that's why now I have Fargo Factor. Shameless plug is my digital marketing company that I own, and I advise people on podcast direction, growth, the whole thing. And I say, look me up on Social Blade. You can see what my main account has done. That I'm growing. It's like getting an annuity account and you're getting 5 to 7% interest. You're not gonna, get rich, but compound interest over time. You keep growing that audience, growing the audience, growing the audience, growing the audience, and it's solid people. It's people that want to know more about what you're talking about and who you're talking to.
Yeah, I think that's meaningful and I think that's real. So let me ask you the hard question then. So you look at someone who took an untraditional path like Sean Michael Kelly or whatever the hell his name is, right? And for him, I don't think there's ever a world where those numbers that were fake originally can ever convert to real engagement. So for him, does that mean he's perpetually stuck in a cycle where his metrics will never show real?
Yes.
Wow.
Correct. And there's only so many people you can interview. Like he eventually is going to hit the wall where he's going to burn so much. Because I've talked to several people that have gone on his podcast. Some have paid, some have not. And they've gone on and there's been hundreds of views or maybe a couple thousand views.
And even then, he could always boost those numbers by paying for them.
Exactly
to make
right. Which he did. The stuff with Pineda, that's all paid. That's all paid. Yeah. Pineda is very good at paying for the audience. He's very aware of his optics to make that paid audience look like it's organic.
I don't understand what he's doing. Like what he's clearly selling courses, right? And so there's a clip out there that he went to a Grant Cardone, I think a 10X conference in the early days, and he's kind of a byproduct of that ecosystem. Whatever. I'm not judging. But I don't have a clear vision as to what Pineda is selling other than his courses on how to build something. But there's not like a track record there. At least in the case of Sean Michael Kelly, I go, okay, he's trying to build a podcast.
Absolutely right. And if you took out Social Blade, Sean Mike Kelly would be a phenomenal podcast growth consultant for somebody.
Yeah, I think that's probably phenomenal. I don't think him in front of a camera makes sense.
No.
I think him behind a camera instructing somebody probably makes a lot of sense.
I agree.
So why do you think he didn't do it?
I don't know. I'm not him. I think it's something that, well, again, everyone to some extent has an ego. And so you kind of want to be on camera. There's always that thing about, hey, I could be famous. It's validation and like the whole thing. I like Sean. I know he does not like me. I know
really?
It's gotten back to him that I've called him out several times, and which I give two shits. I really don't care.
Yeah, I care less. Yeah,
I don't give a shit. But it's just the analogy I've always used, Chris, is it's a lot like the Tour de France, and I'm in the peloton. I've been training my whole life for this. And we're in the Swiss Alps and we're in the French Alps, and I'm pedaling, and my quads are all fired up, and I'm in the peloton. And I can make my move, and here comes fucking Lance Armstrong with his cancerous nuts, and he's got juiced pee, and he's flying up, aside everybody. He's cheating, and he wins another yellow jersey again because he cheated. That to me is Sean Mike Kelly. That to me is Ryan Pineda. That they are saying that they have these amazing podcasts. They haven't put the work in the right way to have organic growth.
And so I think
it's that simple.
And that the organic growth part I think is important because a lot of people miss this. A lot of people and I've been criticized for calling people out too, just like you have. As a matter of fact, both those individuals and others, many of them more like them. I think the number one criticism people give me is, okay, you're just being a hater, or you're being negative. And I go, no, not necessarily. They are painting an image of the industry that is inaccurate.
Correct.
and setting an unfair representation of what people like me who start a show, people like Saied, people like you, who work in this space should expect for, quote, visible success. And then the problem is then brands work with people like that, and it makes us look bad because they go, oh, I paid for this podcast. It had 11 million followers. I didn't get any growth out of this.
It's like the real estate agents. Most of them suck. And I was in real estate. I was a title rep for 10 years in Vegas. I could say this. More than 80% are not worth the paper they're printed on.
Yeah.
They're terrible. But they're out there with a rented Lamborghini in front of a property that they don't even have listed.
Yeah.
But it's optics.
Yep.
Right? And so I am a fervent advocate of, if you don't juice, if you don't take, podcast steroids, and you put the work in, you invest your money. We've both, between the both of us, hundreds of thousands of dollars put into this thing. It is not cheap to get into this game, and it takes forever to see your return. But you know what? You're working for yourself in this business. You pick who is going to be across from you.
Which is empowering.
Which is
very underrated.
Very empowering. Yeah. It is so empowering to have a pre-production call with someone and at the end go, you know what? We're not a good fit. Sorry. But it's just, and I'm honest with it. I say, I don't see how your message is going to resonate effectively with my demographic, which is men 35 to 44 years old.
It's fair. It's a fair point. I mean,
that's all I say. And it's, again, it's the classic, we break up with a girl. It's not you, it's me. Yeah. And that's what I say to people, and I've said it a few times. But I'm honest about it. It's like I tell my kids, I rip the Band-Aid off fast. Let's get it done. And I'm not gonna BS you. And everyone I've done it a few times with people, they've been very nice about it. Like, thank you. Okay, thanks for not wasting my time, Jeff. I appreciate it. Because I want that person to go off and say nice things about me. It's a small world. And the people that are saying not nice things about me, they're assholes already. I don't care.
Yeah, and it's a weird space too, because the community is so small and everybody knows each other. And the one thing I'll tell people all the time is I've never accepted money to be on the show. Like, I've never let somebody pay to be on the show at this particular juncture, because I've always wanted to stay true to like us building it. But Saied and I struggle with this too. We've had, I want to call it almost imposter syndrome, where it's weird to have people listen and want to listen. So we have people who will literally go, oh my God, like, can you go back 2 episodes a week? And I'm like, oh, like, that's really cool that people actually want to hear it. Tell my wife, she doesn't want to hear me at all, much less twice a week. And it's weird to have, it comes down to a concept that if you're authentic and you are true to who you are, people want to listen. Even if you think, there's been episodes where Saied and I walked away from feeling like they're the world's worst episode, like no one's going to like it. And people liked it the most because they got to hear more about our personalities. Yeah. But that kind of stuff doesn't come through when someone's coming on trying to sell something.
It is the worst. And that's where, again, I'm an optimist. I'm always a glass half full guy. So I love it when somebody comes in and says, well, I'm going to sell this and do this. And that's when I'm open about this. I use my podcast as a funnel for my marketing company. Yeah. And I go, well, honestly, that's not going to work. But if you want me to help you generate organic content for you, I can do that with you you're going to pay me a fee. You're going to pay my firm a fee. Right? Social Blade is my best proof of concept ever.
6% is actually really impressive.
Thank you.
That's a huge engagement rate.
Yeah, thank you.
I've looked at a lot over the years. That's probably one of the highest I've seen.
That's what I show people when they're vetting me to help them like grow their podcast or produce a new podcast. I go, well, I'm at a 6% engagement rate, which is off the charts.
I should probably point out to the listener too that there's something interesting that happens. A buddy of mine who runs a pretty popular social media agency, he pointed this out a long time ago, and it kind of blew me away at first, but the more I thought about it, it makes sense. There are people who pay for followers and their accounts are all fake. Their engagement rate's terrible, i.e. 0%, right? Then there are the large accounts, things like the Los Angeles Lakers, the Kim Kardashians. They're going to get bots because people want to have these bot accounts look like they're real people, so they just follow these accounts. And because some of the agencies do pay for bots and engagement and things like that, just to bump numbers up, just to sharpen them up a little bit, because at their level, if The Rock is getting more engagement than you are, getting more likes or comments, then you're charging less of a fee. So there's a huge economic boom. You're talking millions of dollars per post. Right. He's like, so the truest engagement rates you'll see are those kind of small to like upper level, mid-level influencers. Yeah. That's where you get the most clear visibility into engagement. And he's like, that's where the marketing dollars are heading.
And again, I'm not throwing shade. I'm just pointing out the facts. And we're picking on Sean Kelly, but we're going to pick on him. 11 million followers with, was it 0% engagement rate?
That's crazy.
Right? Yeah. And I'm at 36,000 followers with a 6% engagement rate.
Yeah.
Who would you rather put your money behind? Like,
yeah, you know you're gonna get more views on that.
right.
It's just bottom line.
Not only more views, more people eliciting a comment or a share, or they're archiving whatever's being said in that clip. That's how they feel that, or they're sharing it. The best is when they share it to their stories, because then they're sharing your content to their audience. And this is something that a lot of people, I think, overlook in podcast growth and in social media growth. When somebody shares your story, you need to stop what you're doing and just tell them thanks. And I'll give you some inside baseball. I say thanks to 90% of them. I say thanks with a clapping hands emoji, little smiley face. So they don't think it's thanks, you're being a dick. No, I'm really saying thank you. I'm going to take time out of my life because you took time out of yours. And I don't care if you have 120 followers and you live in Des Moines. God bless Des Moines.
Yeah.
Mazel tov. And so, but also what I do is, if they reply back saying, no problem, love your content, keep it going, brother, or I love the salute emoji. I love that one. Or now Black Instagram loves me. They go, anything for you, King. I love that. I'm edified. And I then go back with, if it's Fargo Talks one, I type in WT or YT for YouTube. It's a shortcut keystroke thing. All of a sudden, auto-populating goes, hey, check out the full episode on my YouTube channel. And that's a loss leader that I use to get people to subscribe. I do the same thing for Dad Pod. I do DP, and then Dad Pod, it shows up there, and I get subscribers that way.
It's for Dad Pod, right?
DP is for Dad Pod.
Just to be clear.
Turn mine out of the gutter.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Dare you?
It just had to clarify.
I thought you guys were talking about Dude Perfect.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
Dude Perfect.
My next shortcut's going to be airtight or something like that. It'll be next. So, thank you. Continue.
So, I think the people misunderstand. So, this is one of the things that I have a conversation with. I'm not as sharp on social media as I should be, especially because you and I are in the space. But I find that people look at what we do on these shows like this, and they go, oh, okay, they're going to spend a couple hours talking. But they don't realize that for every hour or 2 hours you see us talking, there's a 10-hour window of preparation that goes into the front end and back end between producing the content, sharpening the video, sharpening the audio, and then distributing on your social channels, responding to people, preparing show notes, engagements. And while AI can help, one of the best ways to say thank you is to actually engage with the content. And so many people are they're just used to death scrolling into the content. They don't hit like, they don't throw out a comment, or if they do throw out a comment, it's with an emoji. And they don't realize that the best way you can support a show like this or like yours is to forward that content to somebody else, to share it, to do more than just like it, because unfortunately the algorithms deprioritize things that bots can and do. Bots don't forward content to their friends.
If a piece of content speaks to you, whether it's educational or entertaining or a hybrid of both, take the time to share that with your audience. That is the greatest thing that you can do for the algorithms, but also it's a great way for me as a content creator to go, that works. I know that when I'm in that conversation with that person and that clip got posted, that the stars aligned. And for me, at my level, anything 100,000 views or up or plays on Instagram is viral.
Okay.
That's my number. That's what I'm looking to hit. Every time I'm posting content on Instagram in a reel, I want it to hit 100,000.
That's the target.
That's the goal.
I don't get anywhere near that. Just full disclosure.
You will, but you will. But again, also it's scarcity that, how many, 98% of all podcasts just go like to 2 episodes and that's it.
Yeah. Saied and I were told about that show. Oh, yeah. Saied pulling up my account.
Oh, look at that one.
He loves to bring this up on TikTok. He is my most viral reel or short. He, awesome. 1.7 million followers.
That's so good.
And it sucks because it's my social media. But at the same time, it's actually a win because it's a picture of him.
Yeah.
They think he is me.
It's great.
Because people naturally think the people that look like him have my name. But the beauty in it is I can talk trash. People think they're looking for his face.
Huh? Perfect. But that's it's also like any content creator, you always remember your first piece of content, a clip, short form content that hits 1 million. You always remember your first one.
Anecdotally, Saied, while you're back there, it's probably worth sharing something with you. You've gotten 1.7 million views, and unfortunately, the one that's outpaced you has been Kevin Spacey's reel.
Oh,
so
no.
Just want you to know you're in good company back there.
Oh no, Kaiser Sose.
Kaiser Sose, over 4 million.
So it's something that the million mark is a whole nother thing. And now, like
Yeah.
between I'm blessed, knock wood, between Dad Pod and Fargo Talks, 1 or 2 a month now, we're hitting over 1 million.
What's your most popular content? I mean, you do a variety show on Fargo Talks.
Yeah.
And the Dad Pod, you guys kind of brush up against a lot of topics, all within the confines of the relationship of being a father. But what content does it best for you?
Stuff that's either factual, like my number one clip is 8.3 million is and I teed up Brandon perfectly. What are the top 3 strip joints in Las Vegas? And he just, the way his cadence of his voice, and he said, number 3 is Sapphire, the Walmart of strip clubs.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know, if they don't have it, you don't need it. And you know, and then he goes down the whole line, and his top one is Chicas Bonitas, which is extremely controversial because it's a Latina. It's on Instagram.
Oh, you're a YouTube side? Bro,
That's right.
What are you doing over there? What
That's
show are
right.
you watching?
Um,
This is why him and Regil can't sit next to each other in the production suite. I only see one of Saeed's hands at all times. It's just kind of awkward.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
And so it was perfect because he's so good at social media. He knew I was teeing him up, and he already had the answer in his head, and he thought about it for a second, and then he just when he said it, I'm like, I thought maybe 1 or 2 million. It's over 8 million. It's 8.3 now. It's my number one watched piece of content I've ever put out because it's it's Vegas. Everyone knows Vegas. Strip joints in Vegas. Everyone knows that.
It's sensational. Yeah.
Number 1 is a Latina strip joint. What? So people were blasting him for that. So it causes
Latina strip. I didn't know that's a thing.
Chicas Bonitas,
I didn't
top 3
realize.
strip joints.
Oh, okay. There it is.
Can you play that so we can hear it or no?
Yeah, he can. He's got to turn the mic up on the road.
Yeah, play that one. That's my one from today's a 22.5. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm looking at like 86.7. That I think has a shot of hitting 100 to go viral.
Farrah Abraham. Yeah, she's
great.
She actually was much more articulate and intelligent sounding than I thought. You got to turn the volume up on the
Number 4.
USB drive. USB.
Was dosed and robbed by the Dangerous Hustler Club 01 to 10. Would not recommend.
Saied hasn't figured out the audio yet. We'll work on that on another podcast. Yeah.
Oh, it's all good. But it was like, so again, to hit something like that, and where there's no celebrities involved, like, yes, he's got a good following. I have an okay following, but for that to be at 8.3 million is bananas.
It kind of is when you think about it. I mean,
Right? And so that's like that's like Halley's Comet. Like you just don't see that very often. And so the ones that I have now, I literally could give you an answer to every single one of my pieces of content that have hit over 1 million, why it's hit over 1 million. You could pick any from YouTube to, which I only have a couple on YouTube that hit over 1 million, but a lot on Instagram. I could tell you why. Like Dad Pod stuff, we're getting real. We're pushing buttons. We are doubling down on traditional fatherhood, which is a very polarizing shot. I can't believe it, but it's a polarizing
like
topic.
fatherhood, to be honest. I mean, I do, but I don't. I think there's some things about being a dad that have been so demonized that it's weird to me.
Like what?
Like, I don't care about like my son going to school per se. I care about my son being happy and following something that he's passionate about.
I agree.
And I think that the traditional route has been like, you know, you got to give your kids the best possible chance to succeed. And historically that's been go get a degree because worst comes to worst, you can fall back on it. I don't know if that's sound advice anymore. That's traditional advice.
I agree.
Look, there was a time in America where you got pensions, right? There was a time and you know,
Gone.
those are gone.
Gone.
And yeah, you get a 401k, but we saw during the great financial crisis how those can go away. There's 529 plans, but I routinely tell people on the show, like, I don't know that I want my son to have a 529 plan. I think I'd rather just have him have an investment account that I just give to him when the time is right. And I'll know when that is. It's not a custodial account. It's an account for him that I manage, and it's something I have in trust for him. So it's related. If I pass away, it goes to him. But that being said, you know, I like to think that you should prepare for the untraditional route because it seems like the untraditional route is the future.
I have my daughter is 15. She's about to finish her sophomore year, and she goes to a performing arts high school.
Very cool.
And it's awesome, and she
Yeah.
loves it, and she's good. But she knows she's not going to go to Broadway or anything like that. And UNLV.
At 15, she knows that?
No. Yeah.
How does she know that at 15?
That's
don't know that.
That's what she says.
Okay.
That's what she says. And so, and I'm the wind could blow differently tomorrow, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm her biggest fan. I'm the one that got her into doing stuff when she was 5 years old at Hollywood Kids on Eastern Avenue in Henderson, and she started there.
Very cool.
And so I cry every time she's in her performance to this day. I bawl every time. And
I get it.
right? And
You know?
so, but I've told her, I've had a long talk with her about this, and I've said, honey, if you want to go to UNLV or UNR are both amazing state schools in Nevada where we live.
Mhm.
If you want to go there, awesome. But what do you want to go for? Like if you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a certified financial planner, an accountant, whatever, an engineer,
Yeah.
something specific, you're going to go on for more secondary education further, but it's not worth it. If you don't know what you want to do, let's take the money that we're going to use for college. Let's buy an income property together.
Yeah.
Let's find income property, and you're going to, at the age of 18 or 19, live either upstairs or next door
Mhm.
to your tenant. You're going to learn basic plumbing, basic electricity, all this, like how you did this studio. I want my daughter to learn all of that.
That's why I did it. Is I started buying property on my
wonderful.
own. So my dad, growing up, who actually has an office in the hall from where we are, you might actually see him pop in. So you see like a Danny DeVito looking dude, kind of chubby, walk in. That's my dad. It's very weird because he's
awesome.
5'5". But yeah. So my dad growing up was not handy. So I started buying investment property, and I was like, look, I'm paying these contractors to do things, but I have no idea how much this should cost or how much work this actually is. So I'll never forget the first time I did it. A guy was out back sledgehammering concrete, and I literally grabbed a sledgehammer and said, I'm going to start doing this. I wanted to know, first of all, it's a lot more work than you think, but so every project I did, it wound up me becoming a general contractor, and then me realizing like, look, like the fear people have of getting started, like anything in life, starting a podcast, starting a new business, getting a new hobby, whatever it might be. It's the same with a construction project. That's why you see all these DIYers on social media that are just doing all this work. They did one, they got some traction, they did another one, and they just kept going.
I've told my daughter, I've said, honey, I'm not handy at all, but I will teach myself to be handy because my love for you.
Yeah.
And we will do this together if you want, and you will literally eat rice and beans for 10 years. But when you hit your 30s and all of a sudden you've got 5, 6, 7 properties that you own debt free and you're leveraging in even more stuff, I said, by the time you're my age, you have hundreds of properties, you're done.
Yeah.
And while all of your other friends who partied all their lives are scraping by and trying to make it to get their pension good or whatever, you're sitting on millions of dollars of net worth.
Did I ever tell you how I bought my first property? When I did your show, did we not talk? Oh, okay. So I couldn't afford property in California where we're at today, right? Southern California was just expensive. And I said, okay, well, I have family in Oklahoma. I can buy out there. My sister and my mom lived outside of Oklahoma City at the time. I since bought her house in Oklahoma City, and they both live next to like where all my properties are at, which is kind of cool.
$204,000 for an 1,800 square foot ranch with 3 bedrooms.
Back then, it was
on 2 acres.
$165,000. I think I paid $165, $145. My sister could tell you; she's my real estate agent. And I put, gosh, I want to say like 5 or something percent down. It was something very small.
It's awesome.
And I bought a piece of property, and it paid me at the time, I want to say it was like $400 a month in free cash flow. At the time, that was fantastic money to me, but it wasn't like life-changing. But that was one property. And then I got another property. And then every year I'd buy one. And then every year I'd buy 2. And then up until, frankly, probably I think 4 years ago, I'd say I'd probably have to go to you on that one. I was buying 2 properties a year at least, right? And I would just buy a property. And then the cash flow that I was getting from each one would increase. And then the ones that I bought originally, I started refinancing when rates went down. And that cash flow was, went from 400 to 900. And now you got meaningful cash flow coming in every single month. And I think out of all the properties I own, I think I have one that's on interest only. It's a Bank of America loan, which I really got to think about at some point in time. And then everything else is amortizing, fully amortizing loan that's paying down. And as much as I find myself obsessively, compulsively worrying because I feel like I'm in the prime money making years of my life. Like I should be making the most money now, right? Like I should be doing that now. Mm-hmm. But then I always say to myself, okay, but in reality, I'm in a better position than most because I have this that I did that with.
Yeah.
And to your point, I'll never forget the first property I bought. I was eating top ramen. I was living in a place that I couldn't afford to buy blinds for the back space because the sun would wake me up every single morning. I'd get a sunburn every single morning because it would reflect off the water in front of the house.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the money. And I was worried every single day that one of those properties I was gonna lose it or it was gonna drive me into financial ruin. And over time, it got better and better. And the irony is I'm an attorney, right? Good for me, I guess. But that isn't how I made my money. Most of my net worth came from those properties, investments that I made. And Hugo, you know him, Saied. He works with me today, and he's one of my closest friends. He's like a father figure to me. He's made really good money in banking over the years. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in salary, and he's got a pretty good reputation in the business. He's got a pretty significant real estate portfolio. And he once came to me and I asked him point blank, I said, I want to be like you one day. And he said, well, let me tell you straight up. Nothing you do here at your day job is going to get you that. And I'm like, well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You make good money. And he looked at me and he goes, look, I've had a good career, but it was the investments that I made along the way, many of which were happening when I wasn't making as much money, that have led to me having these assets now.
I am preaching that to my kids now because I wish my parents did that to me. I shouldn't have gone to college.
Yeah.
I went to St. John Fisher College in Rochester, New York.
Sounds sexy.
I stayed a 5th year just to drink more. I said to my mom, I'm like, we're going to head into a recession, Mom. Can we stay an extra year? She charged it to get frequent flyer miles so she can go gamble at the Flamingo once a year for free. True story. Wow. And so I was a double major, political science, communications, journalism. Got me nowhere.
I mean, you're kind of using the communications journalism now, right?
I am, but it was all my dad was a Jewish life insurance salesman from Queens, New York. He taught me everything I know. We're going to gun shows selling knives and doing. He would teach me how to dicker with people when I was 10 years old.
My dad, I learned a lot of that from my dad, who ironically insisted that I go to college too. My dad and I went to law school together. I don't know if I told you that.
Really?
You ever seen the movie Twins? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito.
That's you too.
That was us too. My dad, 5'5", small. He tells everybody he's 5'8", and it's me.
That's awesome.
And we would go into law school together. And my dad was like the perpetual guy who would sit in front of the class, he'd raise his hand, answer questions. I mean, at the time he was much younger, and I was in my mid early 20s, and I was the guy in the back of the class, usually not sobering up from the night before or something. It was very weird.
That's awesome.
And look, as much as I liked it, and I think it gives me a lot of, it arms me politically. If people come at me, and in this space, better than most, people will come at you. I can defend myself pretty easily.
Sure.
I'm appreciative of that. But in no way, shape, or form did it have anything to do with my financial well-being.
College, if you ask me, college is the biggest grift in America today. Hands down. Hands down.
Yeah.
I mean, we can see it. Like, look what's going on campuses, that just like the protests. Again, you could be pro or anti-Jewish. The fact that they're letting such hatred be spewed.
Extremism.
Is like, what? What happened at UCLA last year? Mm-hmm. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, again, full disclosure, my dad's Jewish, so I'm partial, but I'm also very much like, I'm free speech. Like, we're in America. I love my country. But the fact that the colleges were enabling this to happen and not reacting or reacting fast enough is crazy to me. And like when we were younger, it's you go to college, want a good job, you go to college. Now I'm talking my kids out of college, unless, again, with the caveat of there's some specific thing. Like my son is 9 and he's in GATE, which is gifted and talented.
I was in GATE.
Right?
You're looking at your future right here, brother.
So he's done. Then mazel tov. I love it.
I don't know that it's a good thing.
I love it because like right now, his last week of school is now, but like they've done geocaching, robotics with like these really cool Legos that they get. They did 3D printing.
Yep.
He loves that stuff.
They usually teach him a second language in GATE as well.
So,
Spanish, usually.
So that's what he's there, and he's got 2 more years left at the school he's at. Then he can go to a science and technology magnet school for like 7th and 8th grade. And I'm going to talk to his mom about it because
those are really cool, by the way.
Right.
I don't know if
and
you've seen them yet.
He would love, I've talked to him about it, and he's like, I'm interested about it. So they have an open house next year. We'll go check it out. If he wants to go to school he says he wants to be an astronaut.
Okay.
Jeff Fargo wants to be an astronaut. And by God, if that's what he wants to do, I will go back and eat ramen, and do whatever I have to do to help give him the education that then he can go and be debt free to go ahead and go off and do his thing.
It's such a step up to be debt free. I mean, I think I got out of law school and I think my student loans in total were like $2,500 a month or something. You know how wild that was for a guy who was just trying to make, that's my mortgage payment today is $1,700 a month. It's incredible how much I was paying when I got out of school. Yeah.
And now couple that with what's going on now with people coming out of college with that college debt. They can't afford a home. They have to pay rent. And
it's crazy.
Where do they go from here? I was literally talking to our cleaning lady that came over the other day. And she said, when me and my husband first came over to the States, we were both making under $10 an hour and we were able to afford a home.
Yeah, and so that's the problem, though, is like, going to school used to be a guaranteed ticket to middle class, but that guaranteed middle class also had benefits then that we don't have now. Like you could afford a home. You could afford the same car that everybody else in your street could afford, and you didn't have like this other life being flaunted in front of you, but you got pensions. 20 years at a job, you got a pension, typically. Now, you're lucky to get that if you work for the state or the government in some way, shape, or form. And even then, those are under threat in some cases.
My mom, she passed away 2 years ago, and she had a place, and thank you. And it was awful. she was someone that she worked hard, and we did real estate development. And so we had a guy came in and bought all of our property on Canandaigua Lake. We had for millions. And so he paid for it, a lot of it in cash, in Cibaco topsider shoe boxes.
Huh.
He was an Italian produce vendor. We claimed everything, but he paid in cash for a lot, like $300,000 to $400,000 down payments in boxes of 20s and 50s bundled. And she lived off that for years. For years.
I'm sure she
that
did.
was her thing, and that was great. But I remember telling her, I'm like, Mom, your generation is kind of the last generation of teachers or people that work for a utility their whole lives and get a pension.
Well, not only that, but now, and this is so I'm obviously a hirer in this economy and other economies, and I've been this way for a long time. But I look at resumes. It used to be that if you had like that long tenure at a company, society was like, "Oh my God, Jeff is a loyal employee.
Stability.
He's stable. He's going to stay with us." Because when the Rothschilds and Vanderbilts, they built this ecosystem that we now call American, corporate America. They wanted the person to raise their hand and want to work their way up the corporate ladder. Now you're looked at as a liability. Oh, Jeff can't be that talented because he's with his company. He's lazy,
complacent.
He'd be hopping around, getting more money at job to job every 3 to 4 years if he was talented. And you're like, how did we go from that extreme to that extreme?
It's the Adderall society that we live in now.
I blame social media. Technically, I guess you and I are part of the problem of the ecosystem now. That
God damn it. And that's it for the Higher Standard. Thanks, everybody. Support our sponsors.
This is our last episode. Corrupting America one listener at a time.
Mutually assured destruction. Here we go. Thank you. Unsubscribe now. Thank you so much.
We're Adderall for your life. But it's weird.
It's again, we live in such a transparent culture now. Everything's on social media. Like kids now, like back when my daughter loves for me to tell her stories like back when I was in school, because there were not cell phones. I graduated in 87. There's no cell phones. And
if you had one, you were a drug dealer.
We would talk about fights that would happen. Nowadays, if there's fights, it's on X. You see, because there's a million kids with their phones out. Doing stuff. And kids are so aware now that, like, my daughter goes to these birthday parties. Back when I was a sophomore, junior in high school, there was a keg with a red Solo cup, and you're sitting there and they're playing Skinnerd and you're having a great time. Now there's no booze, there's no drugs, they're karaoke, there's swimming. Usually someone has a pool. It's in a nice neighborhood, and the parents are there, but you don't meet the parents. That's embarrassing to your kids. Like where I was like growing up, my parents would walk me up to the door and, Fargo's, meet the Flanagans, Fern and Fred Flanagan.
Fern Flanagan.
Thank you. And so that was, and when I remember asking my daughter like a year ago, I said, so honey, I'm going to go in. No, you're not. Why not? No, it's my friend. That's going to embarrass me, Dad. What? You're my daughter, and I'm giving these people oversight of you for a 2-hour period, and I'm not going to meet them.
And the world is a more corrupt place now than it's ever been before.
Ever.
Yeah.
Chris. But I'm like, okay. And so now I'm the guy that I drive my kid there, and I go at the right time. And no, I have her on Find My Phone. I know right where she is at all times.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see where she is. But we are so different now in terms of connectivity. Now everything is the phone. Is it Generation Z or Y? What is if you're like 18, if you're like 13 to like in your early 20s right now? There's an infographic
Saied
that came up.
Hook me up with that one.
What's I think it's like maybe Gen Y or Gen Z have the record now of most of them are getting fired because there was an infographic that came up about it on somewhere online.
Baby boomers, 1946, 1964.
Alpha, Z. I think so. I think it's Z. I think it's Gen Z.
1995 to 2009.
They're getting fired the most because of they don't take criticism well, not showing up to work on time, all the things, and there's a couple other ones too.
There was a lady that got fired for working at Equinox. You hear about this? She showed up late 48 times in a 10-month period. This was on Rogan too, I think, at one point in time. She won like $11 million. Yeah,
she would make $11 million in 5 lifetimes.
No, not at Equinox.
Not an Equinox.
I mean, they take if you're a trainer there, they take 70% of your income. You were late 48 times in 10 months. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. But she sued for racism, and she was an African American woman. She won. I mean, I just the paradigm has gotten so weird.
But who's the judge? Like
right?
That's bananas. And was the judge
put
by Soros?
Robin Europe, a former Equinox employee, won an $11.25 million lawsuit against a luxury gym chain, claiming she was fired due to race and gender discrimination.
What's that thing above the O? What's that called? Do you know what those two dots are?
Oh, I don't know.
I bet before the lawsuit, she was just a regular Robin, and she changed it to be something fancy when she got that like
Is it
multi-million-dollar
Robin
job.
now? I'm Robin.
See? And you gotta like roll
There's an
roll the R's. Robin.
I'm Robin.
I'm Robin. I'm worth
Saied,
$11 million.
You're Mr. Omar.
But it's up is down and down is up. And that's like getting back to like with Dad Pod, we're just talking about, and I'm an older guy. My co-host is old at heart.
Don't make yourself old.
He's an old soul.
And it's just
all right, true. I just say cut me in half and count the rings.
How old is he, by the way, your co-host?
He is 37.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Brandon's like 37, 38.
Like Saied your age. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And he's so good and insightful on stuff. And
I would not have guessed he was that young.
and knows, but he's an old soul.
Yeah, he has.
And
that,
so we will talk. We have a little show prep, and we have like a Google Doc that goes back and forth with some stuff. And then we've got our laptops open when we're talking. Mm-hmm. But then when we start hitting stuff, we just go.
Yeah. Why?
We just go and we just riff. And he's good because he's such a massive audience. Sometimes he'll live stream, which is also a great thing to do to get your numbers up. So people be asking questions. We'll have 40 or 50 people on, and they're asking questions or validating what we're saying. And so we're recognizing them. That helps a lot.
There it is. There's a Dad Pod.
There's Dad Pod. And if you hit Reels, notice we have 4,400 followers, and then look at our traction for our Reels. So that means we should have
those are fantastic.
We should
numbers.
have 400. And instead, because of he has good numbers and I have good numbers in terms of our audience, keep scrolling down, please.
Yeah, you get
There's one at 500,000.
Over 10,000 on everything.
Keep going. 300,000.
Yeah.
Keep going. There's another 500,000 and 150.
Yeah.
That's going to hit 1 million. Keep going down.
My dads must be the asshole in the house.
Also very true. And then we've got one at over 1 million too. It's on there somewhere.
Huh?
There,
right there.
1.2 million. So
why dads must enjoy suffering? Yeah, true.
So when you look at us and you go, well, wait a minute, how? And again, this is just inside baseball for people.
Yeah.
We only have 4,400 or over 4,000
Those are fantastic
people.
Numbers for that.
It's because of I have a decent audience and Brandon has a massive audience. But even with his, say if he has 400,000 followers, that means between hybrid for us, anything 50 to 70,000 is performing well. If it's at 100,000 or more, it's outperforming. If it's 500 to 1 million, it's viral. Given an aggregate of both of our audiences.
It's interesting to see that you quantify because everybody talks about going viral all the time, and it's so like amorphous and ambiguous.
It's
on
fluid.
What that means.
It's very fluid.
Nobody really has a handle on what
it depends on your organic audience.
Yeah.
Like I could do.
But the organic audience is often hidden from a lot of these accounts.
I could do a collab with Kim Kardashian, and that means then every single reel should be 3 to 5 million views, right? Minimum.
Yeah.
This
is her engagement rate,
and that's her engagement rate. And so for me, it looks good. I mean, I'm at a 6% engagement rate. That's pretty good. It's other people though with 11 million, 10 million followers with 0% engagement rate.
That to me is still, honestly, this is going to sound like I'm hating on the guy and I'm going back to it, but you would have to really work to have that low of an engagement. I mean, that is statistically so improbable given the amount of people that he's had on his show. Yeah. That is hard to do. You have to have an immensely fake following.
It is a finite focus and drive and desire to mediocrity. That's what it is.
Or the short path to success.
The short path to success. And again, the thing is, take all that out. He's a brilliant podcaster. Like
I don't believe it. I mean,
the stuff he knows about podcasting is Mensa level stuff. The conversation we had was so good that no one's ever going to see, Chris.
But he's also hyper young and he wanted it fast and he didn't want to take his time. Plus, I'm guessing, so he rents out a studio space and this is probably worthwhile to talk about in a lot of Kim Kardashian. She has an engagement rate of 0.28%, which I would say is probably a more common engagement rate.
Well, because in 356 million, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
I would think that's a pretty accurate number for her. If you scroll down and she's lost 300,000, look at all these she's lost. I would be hard pressed to think that she paid for her audience.
No, but what happens is, and so I've had people in the space that have made this clear, is she will get lots of fake accounts because other people are working with her trying to pump up her accounts, number one, because they want to see like their product successful, or they're just trying to keep up. Her PR company's just trying to ramp it up
and keep it going
from a numbers perspective. But if you think about her as great, like kind of corollary, she's not the one doing that. There's
No.
somebody else driving
She
it behind
doesn't
her.
do any of
she
that.
doesn't
She's
do
got
any of that.
assistants for the assistants.
Right.
You need to get your, I think it's after you get your email verified, then it gives you a 180-day look,
Oh, okay.
which is really cool. You can pay more and get the 365. I'll get that eventually. Vegas Starfish, Jenny, she's a million followers, organic, on Instagram. She's a massive audience across. She's a 4 million probably total. Sweet woman. People hate her. They love her. Her and Vegas Polly C go at it like Hatfields and McCoys.
What's her subject matter?
She is a Vegas lifestyle and entertainment content creator. So she'll do restaurants, hotels. But she gets a bad rap sometimes from people like, oh, she's gone in and doesn't tip and gets a free meal. I've talked to her. She's been on my podcast 3 times. I've had her on. We talked off camera. I'm like, do you really stiff people? She's like, no. Actually, tipped like $300 to $400 when the bill was comped. I over tip. That's just people spew hatred about her. But she's somebody like if you pulled up Vegas Starfish, I think is what she is, and on Instagram, and she's the one that told me about years ago. She told me about Social Blade. She was like, you need to go on Social Blade to look up anybody you want to talk to. Yep, that's her, Vegas Starfish. This is her full-time gig.
Is she on the Drew Barrymore show?
Probably.
Oh, okay. So that's probably where a lot of her following came from. You get national coverage like that.
She's gone viral several times. And she puts out just solid.
Followed by Jeff Fargo and Joe Rogan.
Hello.
Those are 2 podcasters I know. There you
go. She's someone that she is nice to a fault. She's a super sweet lady. And look at
how simple her thumbnails are. They're very consistent.
She's the one that taught me, see how you see the different like Night of Fun under 100?
Yeah.
I now started doing that a few months ago because of her.
These also work both on TikTok and on Instagram.
Yes.
Pretty well.
It's and that's something that we'll talk about that. Once I started doing this, I saw my numbers starting to go up because now that becomes a look in. If someone's scrolling, they now have like, oh, it's like the beginning of a chapter. I know what that reel is about.
Saied and I used to do that too, and then we just didn't see the conversion numbers, and then we switched over and we've tried to play with some numbers. What's interesting is, Saied, pull up Chris Williamson's account. I like his. Not saying this is a strategy for someone like you or I.
Fine.
I think that. So if you look at Chris Williams' account, he lets the cinematography and the beauty of the shots really sell it. But he also has these big ass guests on.
He's great. I love him. When he was on Rogan, he's so good.
So good.
So good.
He gets a lot of hate for somebody who I think doesn't deserve it. But he, so if you look at his shots, they're almost always cinematic and beautiful unless he's doing something remote. This one's one of my favorite ones. This podcast in particular.
Was he the one that he said on Rogan that he said that people are fatter than pigs in the United States now?
I think that was him.
Like U.S. obesity has exceeded a pig.
So his shot's really interesting, and he does something that I don't think most people catch, and you can see it with Naval's here. So first of all, the cinematography is always beautiful. The quality kind of goes up and down with some of his shots when he posts them on social media, but the actual show itself looks like a movie. But he uses very small overlays in text, which draw you in enough if you're listening to it on mute that you can understand what's being said. But there's nothing fancy here. There's no pop-up images. There's nothing here. The cinematography speaks for it. And the shots speak for it. And he has no problem putting text over the face.
Interesting.
But watch the camera. He has it moving slightly with the eyes. So when the guest looks a certain way, the camera will pivot left or right or up or down. The camera follows it just a tiny bit.
Very interesting.
And what that does is that draws your human subconscious draws you into it without you knowing. Because you're following the camera moving with the eyes.
That's great.
It's such a psychological weaponization. Yeah,
that's great.
Saied, close this real quick. But
wow.
So there's little nuances like that I've been trying to catch because. So I went down this path a long time ago about how the guys who created the Infinite Scroll, their sole purpose in creating the Infinite Scroll was to keep you engaged in the apps.
Yeah.
So when they went to, I think it was Facebook back in the day, and now Instagram, they said, okay, if you make them click to go see next, or have a button that they push to see more content, they will drop off.
Gone.
That's all the human mind needs to stop and pivot you up. The Infinite Scroll, where you scroll and just more keeps coming up, keeps you engaged. You never have to think about stopping, so you just never stop.
Yeah.
It's little nuances like that that play on the psychology of humans that I think are the difference between like some of these bigger creators. Granted, he has a platform that's his numbers are gonna be big no matter what.
Yeah.
He's been on Rogue, he's been on all those shows. But it's little things like that, like the following the eyes and the cinematography that I think that's what the new level of content's gonna be for guys like us.
I think it's always be testing.
Yeah.
Always be testing.
We do that a lot.
Testing your thumbnails, your camera angles, audio quality, everything is you're always testing. You're never complacent with, oh, well, this was good because it went viral and let's just stick with this. No.
You ever worry? So, I don't know. I see a lot of creators now. Like, who's that wilderness guy? There's a guy who I watch his videos all the time. I see them on like YouTube. It comes up. He's like a wilderness content creator. God, I can't remember his name. He just announced that at the end of the year.
Bear Grylls?
No, it's a different guy.
Oh, YouTube guy, I saw that.
Yeah, he just announced that he's going to retire at the end of the year. And people were like, what are you talking about? You got millions of followers. He's like, I'm going to be a consultant. He just thought like.
Spend time with his family.
Yeah, because he didn't like the stigma. His family was getting like hit up. And and I totally respect and love where he's coming from and why. And it sounds like something that I would say. Do you ever worry that the constant need to be watching and create and grow can go from like mental engagement to exhaustion?
Yeah.
It's scary, right?
Oh, yeah. That's what, for me, the balance is consulting.
Oh, I see that.
Okay. That I get to, I can unplug, but still feed that part of me that loves that growth, the content growth part. I do it now vicariously through my clients. I love that. I love to see my clients stuff.
Outdoor boys. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. That guy.
Sorry. Yeah.
I know you're fine. I love to see my clients go viral on stuff or to see something pop more than my own content pop because I love it for them. And I had a little spot, that little piece I played in that. I don't care about that though. At my age, my ego's, I'm done. But I want to see them succeed. I want to see them get in front of an audience. I want to see them, we post a piece of content for them that we're like, oh, this is not going to go anywhere. Next thing you know, poof, viral, gone. I love that.
So, I just, maybe it's an obvious answer, but do you regret staying in the title business as long as you did?
No, everything happens for a reason.
Because you're very clearly passionate about this. And I get it. I am too. Like
I love it.
I did not think when I started podcasting that I would, somebody else told me I should do it. Like, oh, you got a good voice. I was like, all right, I'll give it a run. I didn't think that I would love it as much as I do.
Yeah, it's the best.
I regret waiting so long to start.
I needed a time to incubate.
What do you mean?
I started, I've been on social media since AOL back in the early 90s. Okay. Like I was getting back when, I thought I was having cyber sex with a leggy blonde that played volleyball for UCLA. Meanwhile, it was a morbidly obese man with skin tags from Spanish Harlem.
Good for you.
But I didn't know, didn't care. That's my experimental phase we talk about probably with my kids down the road. And so,
somewhere out there's a record of those chats.
Now it's gone to where I taught spin classes back in the 2014, 2015.
Really?
A friend of mine came into one of my classes, Crystal Whitley. She came in and she goes, "Hey, I want to do a thing called a live stream on this platform called Periscope." And I was like, "What is that?"
Huh.
And this is back when like I was on Instagram before Zuck bought it. I've been in big social media. She goes, "Yeah, I'll probably have 300 or 400 people be watching your spin class while you're teaching." Lo and behold, 300 or 400 people did.
I would have never guessed that about you.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was Vegas spin guy.
Stop it.
Google it.
Is that still out there? Does it exist?
Oh yeah. There's gonna be some YouTube videos.
You were Vegas spin
I
guy.
had a disco ball in my spin room at the Henderson Multi-Generational Center.
I would have never. Oh my God. There's
Thank you.
actual 23 photos. There's a Yelp review.
Hold on.
Is that you?
Yeah, I love a class as Vegas spin guy. Go to YouTube Vegas spin guy.
And how long did you do this for?
2-3 years. I lost 70 pounds. I started at the back of the class.
Okay.
Worked all the way up front. Got my certification. Took over the entire thing.
Okay. Something you were super
'Cause that's what
passionate
I do.
about. Yeah. All right. No, I get
That's what I do. So if you go to, it's got to still be live. If you do, that's not me.
Vegas spin guy is now apparently slot machines.
Wow. Well, Vegas Matt's big. It's hilarious that they came up. If you do,
No, it's fine. We don't
that's
have to
fine.
see it. I just
So
I just wanted to see you in
so
a Peloton outfit.
Oh, it's there.
Is
The
it
whole
really?
kit.
Yeah.
I had a first American title kit.
Did you really?
Oh God, yes. Because
Okay.
my boss was an Ironman. He did like 10 Ironmen. So a bunch of us that either did spin or were cyclists, we'd buy kits that said first American title.
And you went in and you rocked it while you were.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. But we had playlists and did the whole thing, man.
All
yeah,
right.
loved it. And so I started doing that, and I started going around as a title rep, going to open houses, and walking and going, hey, I know you already use Chicago title. I'm Jeff Fargo with Fatco. I could probably get about 500 to 1,000 people to see your open house right now. What do you mean? And I'm like, hold on a second. Let me get my phone. All right, better yet, give me your phone, and we're going to go ahead. I'm going to set you up with Facebook Live, because that when it first came out, I was one of the first ones to get it.
And people didn't understand it when it
They
came out.
had no idea what
Yeah,
it
they had
was.
no idea.
I set them up right there at the open house. And I go, all right, take your one sheet with all your info about the house. Walk me through like I'm an interested buyer right now. And people are going to come on and ask questions, and I'm going to ask the questions on behalf of them. And I did that. And I was, by my third year at Fatco, I was in the top 1% in the nation and won their DPK award. Went to Key Biscayne, Florida with my wife at the time for 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's how I was the digital social media title rep in Vegas for years. I was it. There was other people tried, and they just not at my level because I had more reps than them. But then I was screaming in an echo chamber because I said, working for a title company is like working for the Mormon church. You're working for a bunch of old, out of touch white men that just have no clue with reality. And
Many
so
industries like that.
And so I was constantly screaming in an echo chamber because of compliance, or you have to get this approved before you can do anything. And I was like, I'm done here.
From a media marketing perspective.
Yeah, I'm done. And so I needed to go through all of that. And I mean, Fidelity Title helped pay for my podcast. The first 20 or 30 episodes of Fargo Talks is me talking to realtors. Boring as shit, but I got more experience, and I got to be a better podcaster, Chris. Every time I got to sit across from somebody, I got my reps in.
That's how Saied and I started. We just started talking to each other in the
awesome.
garage.
Yeah.
And we were very close and very sweaty, might I add. But you get the reps in, and after a while, you can get over that almost imposter like. Because at the beginning, you don't know if people want to listen to you.
You don't know.
You don't know.
And so it just kind of morphed into now it's a variety podcast. I got a second one, about to start a third one. And I love just helping people now all over the country. I'm talking to people that say, well, you want to do podcast growth? Okay, the first thing I always say to them is 0 to 10, how committed are you to this? If you're anything below an 8, I'm not your guy. So don't spend your money with me.
What I told myself, and Saied knows this because we did it together, was the first 6 months we recorded this show, I didn't put anything out. I just recorded. I had one mic, I had my garage, and it was me talking to myself effectively for 6 months. And then I interviewed people, and I had literally 6 months of content ready to go on day one. Did I love all of it? No. Did I use all of it? Except for a couple episodes here and there that I thought the people I was interviewing were disingenuous.
Yeah.
But I knew when I went out that I had 6 months, and I knew I'd already beaten the curve of podcasters that came out before I even started to announcing the show. And then it's leveled up into this and this and this. And frankly, that's how you and I became close, is because the podcasting space brought us together. It's a really cool thing to be able to talk to people.
I love it. If I was to win the Powerball and have $100 million in the bank, I'd still be doing this.
Yeah, I think I would too.
I wouldn't change. I'd still be doing this. It's just I'd be flying you to the Seychelles.
I'd be coming with you.
Yeah. And we could sit
I'd wear
there.
whatever you want.
Well, that's you, me, and Saied in our loincloths, just, sitting there with a 3-mic, podcast.
We could do that.
Just riffing from and we'd get one of those like huts that you turn the light on, and there's the glass, the convex glass, and all the fish are there underneath swimming. And
there you go.
There's us just hanging out, drinking our little Mai Tais or rum runners.
I could be bought. Yep, I could be bought.
Saied
Right?
could be bought. Yeah, we can do that.
Said's in.
Listen, baby, I'd love to stay at home with you, but this is work. we got to go for work.
But it's to me, this isn't a job. It's fun. When I watch my friend who I admire and respect put blood, sweat, and tears into this room.
Oh, his place.
And I'm flattered to be one of your first guests on Higher Standard 2.0.
Man,
I love this.
Bringing you in here was this is going to sound cliche, and I really sincerely mean this, so don't let it sound like I'm being sarcastic. I'm not. Bringing you in and getting you here and getting the studio ready for you to arrive was a huge milestone moment for me. It really was. Not just because of your subject matter expertise and because we're friends. It's because I wanted when you, and this is terrible because the guest we had on before was a great guest, no disrespect to him, but I wanted the lighting to be perfect for you. I wanted the environment to be perfect for you. And there's still some things that, we didn't quite get done, but it meant a lot to me to present to you what we could be, because you know the space and you know what, what it could be, and you know the show. So
it's wonderful.
Thank you for being here. And,
it's my pleasure to hop on a plane and come do this and see my friend and spend time. And, this is great. I would do this anytime. It's fun.
Well, Jeff, good, because I'm going to have you come back at some point in time. We're going to figure out some more things to talk about. But we got a flight to get you to, and it's getting to the top of the hour.
We do. I'm a very busy man.
You are very busy.
I have a lot going on. My mom would always say that. Jeffrey, I got a lot going on. Mom, what are you doing? You've got Jeopardy, and then you got Wheel of Fortune, Mom, at night. That's all you've got going on.
My mom is the opposite. You can call her no matter what time of day. She's got nothing going on. It's my sister who's like, oh my God, I'm so busy. And you're just like, you're not busy.
Shit.
You're at the gym. I can hear the plates smashing in the
background. I have access to your Google Calendar. You have dick. Yeah. You have nothing going on right now. How dare you?
Well, before you go, is there anything you want to plug specifically? Obviously, this will all be in the show notes anyway.
No, I'm good. Thank you. You know why? I used to do that at the end of my podcast, just food for thought. Yeah. If people have lasted this long, they're going to see tagged, I'm going to be tagged in stuff. I'm going to be added as a collaborator or tagged in all the clips and all that shit. Yeah. And so that's how you can get a hold of me. It's just do that. It's Jeff.Fargo on Instagram. Hop on if you want to. But most people aren't going to see this part of the show. No offense, but they're not going to see it.
What are you talking about? We've got at least 2% of our audience. That's like 3 people that are going to check this out.
Your wife, my wife.
Saeed's
wife.
And Rajil, your wife too.
Rajil's wife.
So we got 4. Actually, my wife doesn't listen to the show. We got 3 of us.
3. All right, net 3. We're at gross 4, net 3. But you know what? I do this more for having a good conversation with my friend. If other people want to seek me out and see what I'm doing, great, let them do that. But this isn't to me, it's disingenuous for me to say, oh, hey, follow me on this platform. No, I'm here more for you and, and for everyone here, all the work you've put into this brand and how you've grown to this. I'm just happy to be here, man. There's no need to plug anything.
Me too, man. I'm happy to be here just as much as you are. Frankly, I'm happy to be here and not be covered in drywall.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody. Saied, take them out.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.